Several city areas, vertically structured, can be identified. The upper city consists of high-rise buildings intersected by railways, road traffic systems and aircraft, and is crowned by the multi-story new Tower of Babel. In his first design, Erich Kettelhut saw the medieval cathedral in the centre of the city, over which towered modern skyscrapers. In a revised second design, the cathedral's place has been taken by the new Tower of Babel, whose top floor was envisaged as a pentacle-shaped aerodrome. The Club of the Suns forms an independent area in the upper city, a design by Kettelhut, with its stadium, and with the eternal gardens, the playground of the gilded youth of Metropolis. Two alien elements in the modern upper city are Rotwang's old house and the Gothic cathedral. Somewhat distant, the Yoshiwara, the city's red light district. Further down and accessed using steps, the machine area, including the M, the Moloch machine, the Paternoster machine, as it was called in the novel, and the Heart machine, the city's energy centre. Below this, again connected to the upper floors by stairs, elevators and shafts, are the ancient catacombs, with a kind of crypt at their centre. Yet the buildings in Metropolis insinuate neither an intrinsic whole nor a unified world. Instead of three-dimensional buildings, just sketches of non-executed architecture. Indeed, not even intended to be executed. Fantastic imaginary architecture.
I am living, Lang said, through my eyes.
The camera, for Lang, is no longer an apparatus for passively recording mere actions. The camera, by moving slowly towards Gustav Frohlich, expresses Mary's tender attentiveness. Together with Freda's hand, the camera reaches out for Mary's scarf. Behind the camera, Karl Freund. At Lang's request, Pommer had purchased 2 Mitchell cameras while visiting Hollywood, the first of their kind to be used in Germany. Here you can see them. Karl Freund is beside the right one and Günter Rittau next to the left one, the 2 cameramen. Between them, their visiting Hollywood colleague Charles Roscher. Another camera to be used on the Metropolis set was the Stachov Filmer, a German-made light metal camera. This panoramic shot from the scene in the Eternal Gardens was taken with a debris camera.
It was made, Rittau wrote, with the help of a small model in the form of a painted backdrop. Because this model had to be photographed from very close up, the camera could not be allowed to move. So we moved the model past the front of the camera instead.
The debris in front of the model, with Rittau on the left, and Kettelhut, who created the relief picture. Seeing with devices is the central topic in the scene with the television telephone. Seeing and showing merge into one.
Günter Rittau described this as an interesting problem. It was solved by projecting the image of the Foreman Groth backwards onto the TV screen using a projector, before filming this with the camera positioned in front of it. The projector and camera were phase connected to ensure they worked at the same speed.
The Tower of Babel at Night, a trick tableau by Erich Kettelhut.
He wrote, "On strong cardboard, I drew 2 pictures of 60 by 40 centimeter format in the same naturalistic and minutely detailed manner as would be produced by photography. My range of shadows stretched from black to mid-grey. Only the constantly illuminated windows were given a lighter shade. If I wanted to depict a beam of light moving across the front of a building, I would have to erase, millimetre for millimetre, the same amount of shading from one side as I added to the other. The picture would then be exposed and the process repeated until the beam of light disappeared completely from the picture screen. And so I had to make around 1,000 individual images.
25 images for every second of the film. So too can it be imagined how from Kettlehood's drawing of daybreak the moving image of the city mountains resulted. Frame by frame shooting was one of 3 special effect processes used in the making of Metropolis. Lang had seen this in Hollywood.
The set for the main shopping street combined 2- and 3-dimensional presentation. A relief model with painted background. The building in the foreground at a scale of 1:16 to the simulated heights, a painting of the new Tower of Babel in the background at a scale of 1:100, 3.5 meters representing 350. For filming the shots of the traffic on the roads of the upper city, they used 300 tiny model cars, each of which had to be moved forward a few millimeters for each frame.
How did the M machine change into the Moloch?
Using a combination of the Schüftan process and sliding mirrors, writes Kettlehood, the Moloch head, which was positioned opposite the M machine, blended into the machine, with the image appearing from top to bottom.
The Schüftan mirror trick process, the second special effect method used in Metropolis. Eugene Schüftan was a painter and architect and Hans Pölzig assistant at the Berlin Academy of the Arts.
Ich bin zum Film gekommen eigentlich durch das Verfahren, weil mich das Bild in der Bewegung sehr interessiert hat. Damals hatte man bloß stillstehende Bilder und nicht das Bild in der Tiefe. Das ist ein Hauptteil meines Verfahrens, weil der Spiegel in der Tiefe gebraucht wird.
Schüftan's mirror trick process enabled the combined use of models and real scenery. Here between the model buildings, on the street below can be seen the real pursuit of Mary by the crowd. The same model was used in another take, with the addition of several abutments and a skyway, on which a model car runs, while on the street below, 2 real worker gangs plod past each other. To achieve this effect, a mirror mounted at 45 degrees in front of the camera lens reflected the image of the miniature model positioned directly behind the camera. Part of the mirror surface had been scratched away so as to provide the camera an unrestricted view of the real scenery. The lower floors of the buildings around the central square of the workers' city were constructed to full scale. The upper floors were mirror image models. In the Stadium of the Suns, the track and lower portion of the wall, 10 meters high, were real. The section above, with buttresses and a dome in the background, were a mirror image of the model, 1/20th of the simulated size. In Rotwang's house, the memorial to Hale. The head was a model 60 centimeters in height, a mirror image of which was projected above the headless pedestal, which, when taking a reverse angle shot of Rotwang flitting by the memorial, was used as a platform for the crew and camera. The third special effect used for Metropolis, multiple exposure. Not copying one on top of the other, subsequently in the laboratory, but actually during the shoot, in the camera, on the same reel of film, which had to be rewound several times.
Günter Ritter, der hat mir auch in Metropolis unendlich geholfen. Und vor allem bei der Erschaffung des künstlichen Menschen, wo ein Mensch aus einem Robot geschaffen wird, aus einem metallenen Robot. Und er hat das so großartig gelöst, dass man mich heute in Amerika noch fragt, wie habt ihr das eigentlich gemacht?
The same piece of negative was exposed up to 30 times. We first shot the mechanical person on the pedestal. The figure was then replaced by a black silhouette, and around this figure 2 circular arched neon lights in tubes made from sandwich paper were moved up and down repeatedly by a type of filmed through a glass plate, which was smeared with a thin layer of grease. Finally, the electrical discharges were filmed, without the greased glass plate.
Sets have become architecture, says Buñuel. Costumes and makeup become sculpture.
Schulze-Mittendorf. The figures were actors wrapped in a layer in a gothifying style, made out of thick, hard and wired jute. Their heads were encased in a full mask, made from a new, malleable wood material which had just appeared on the market. The material could be sawn, grated, filed and planed.
The futuristic mechanical person is made from the same material.
Brigitte Helm had to be able to sit, stand and walk in the costume. A plaster mould of the helmet was constructed, onto which I directly attached the body, which could be broken down into several parts, the same principle as for knight's armour.
The Metropolis music was composed, unusual for the time, during the filming. Huppertz had already written the Nibelungen music. The Metropolis music is dominated by leitmotifs, to which characters, groups of characters, and even particular content have been assigned. For example, as it is called by the composer, the motif of the epigram. Or the opening titles music. Mechanically rhythmic ostinato figures accompany the machine scenes. Two dances are assigned to specific settings, the Yoshiwara and the Eternal Gardens.